Now that you've downloaded and imported my Life in Color presets, I'm going to walk you through how to use them and adjust them so that they fit your photo the best that they can. Alright, so let's edit this picture I took on my iPhone using the JPEG presets on the mobile app. So I'm going to go in here, and first I'm just going to see which one I like best on the photo out of the 5. And 2 of these are meant to be used indoors, but they can also work outdoors. It just depends on the environment and the lighting. So I'm just going to go through and look at all of them first. And I'm going to really pay attention to like the tones of them, and this one like is a little more blue, this one's a little bit more warm tone, this one's a little more like tealy turquoise, and so I'm going to see which one of those I like best for this photo, and then I'm going to tweak from there. So I think I prefer Darling Dream on this photo because I like how warm it makes the area by the pool and how my skin looks with this one on. So I'm going to hit the check. And then I'm going to go in and adjust certain little things here and there, and that will just really help customize each preset to each individual photo. So let's go into lighting first. I think it could be a little bit brighter. So I'm going to pull up those highlights because, as you can see, the preset comes with them really pulled down. So I'm going to pull them up a little bit just because this photo was already a little bit dark to begin with. And then I'm also going to mess with the shadows and the blacks a little bit because sometimes the details in my hair get lost when the blacks of the photo are super dark. So I'm going to pull that up a little bit just to brighten up my hair. Now I'm going to go into color. So on the first page of color, we have color temperature, tint, vibrance, and saturation. I feel like these are okay where they are right now for this photo, but what I usually adjust on every single photo is the color mix, which is this circular icon in the top right corner. So in here, you can adjust every single color on its own. You can single them out, and you can also click this picker tool, and you can go any place in the photo, and you can adjust the hue, saturation, and luminance of that very specific point in the photo. Right now, I'm just going to go through each color of the rainbow and see where I like them in this photo. So right now, I think I need a little more red, and that will bring more pinkness to my cheeks as well as a little bit more red in my lips. And then the luminance will just adjust how, like, so you can see this is extremely bright, and then if I do this, it's extremely dark. So I'm going to put it somewhere just in the middle so it doesn't look too crazy. And then I'm going to move to orange, and I think this tone of my skin looks pretty good and pretty close to how it usually does in real life, but I have a very warm undertone, so I always pull the orange a little bit closer to the golden side of things as opposed to the red because my skin tone is warm. So right there, I think that's a good place to be for my skin tone, and I'm actually going to desaturate my skin a little bit just because it was looking a little orange. Okay. And then there's not much yellow in this photo, but if you want to see like which color is being considered yellow or being considered green, you can actually pull the saturation all the way up, and then you can see like, oh wow, the plants in the back of this photo are extremely yellow. I'm going to pull those down just in case you weren't certain where that color was in the photo. And I'm going to move on to green, and as you can see, the only green thing in this photo is the avocado toast on my plate, but so it pretty much looks okay. Because there's so much blue in this photo, you want to make sure that the hue is where you want it. So if you want your blues to look more teal, then you would pull this hue bar towards green. But if you want them to be more true to tone, they would be in the center. And then if you want them to pull a little more cool purple base, then you would pull it this way. I like the blues to look as true as they do in real life. So it's actually a little bit more purpley than teal. And then you can just adjust the saturation depending on how saturated you want the ocean to look. I'm going to pull down the saturation because when you put the preset on initially, the blues are very saturated. So I'm just going to pull them down a little bit because there is a lot of blue happening in this photo. So then I'm pretty much finished with this, but I'm going to zoom out and look at the entire photo again. And I think that it's still a little bit too contrasty, which is what I say, but that actually just means that I'm going to lift the blacks. As you can see in my hair, it's still a little bit dark. So I'm going to bring the shadows up a tiny bit and a little bit of the blacks. That way it's not as dark up there in my hairline because I do have super dark hair. And I'm pretty certain that I like where this is at, so I'm going to leave it here. So I hope that you found this little tutorial helpful. If you have any more questions, be sure to check back in the PDF to see if I've already answered them for you. And if not, you can always send an email to theclayrenee@gmail.com, and I will try my best to answer all of your questions.